The next morning, I received a call from Archer University. It was the dean of the architecture department. He informed me that after an emergency investigation, the school had verified Julian's academic misconduct and theft of technical results. The school decided to expel Julian Thorne and issue a campus-wide censure. Simultaneously, the competition committee officially disqualified him and blacklisted him from the industry. This meant Julian was not only kicked out, but would have no place in the domestic design industry. His path as a genius boy was severed by my own hands. Mr. Sterling, we are deeply sorry and ashamed that such a student appeared at our school. Regarding the losses to your company. Dean, no need for heavy words. I interrupted. I have only one request. Please speak. I hope that when the school releases the expulsion notice, it inadvertently mentions that student Julian's source of inspiration was a senior, Ms. Alara Vance. The dean fell silent. He was a smart man. He understood my intent instantly. This wasn't just punishing Julian. It was pinning Alara to the pillar of shame. Mr. Sterling, this might not be compliant with regulations. Dean, I said faintly, my legal department is considering whether to file a lawsuit against Archer University regarding this matter. After all, a student of yours utilized his time at school to steal my company's core technology. The school bears an undeniable responsibility for oversight. This was a naked threat. The dean's breathing quickened. An elite school valued its reputation above all else. If my company really sued, win or lose, it would be a massive blow to the school's image. Understand, Mr. Sterling, you finally compromised. We will carefully consider your suggestion. I hung up with satisfaction. Alara, didn't you want to give everything for him? Then I'll let you be ruined together. I wonder if Julian will still be grateful to his good senior when he learns that your help was what pushed him into the abyss. After this, I had Marcus send the agreement to Alara. Sure enough, within an hour, I received a call from Alara's mother. Her voice was full of anger and disbelief. Caleb, are you trying to drive our Alara to death? Not only canceling the wedding, but making her pay you? Do you have no conscience? Alara gave you 7 years, and now you want to kick her out with nothing. Linda, I said calmly, every clause in the agreement is according to the law. The house and car are my premarital assets. As for that $50,000, it's my salary and bonuses over the years. I have detailed bank statements. She illegally misappropriated my funds to transfer to someone else. I haven't called the police to arrest her out of respect for you and her father. Linda was speechless. As for conscience, I laughed coldly. The moment my child was killed by her hands, that thing ceased to exist between us. Don't forget, who did Alara abort the baby for? It was because of you. You put too much pressure on her. You executioner. Linda began to rant irrationally. Is that so? Then I suggest you ask your good daughter if she did it for me or for that wild man named Julian. I didn't bother wasting more words and hung up. I knew Alara wouldn't let go. Sure enough, that afternoon, she came to my door. After a few days apart, she looked much more haggard. Her eyes were swollen, face pale, lacking her usual radiance. Seeing me, tears fell immediately. Caleb, I beg you, let me go, and let Julian go, okay? She cried and pleaded. Let you go. I sat on the sofa, looking at her with leisure. Did you think about letting him go when you decided to kill my child? I know I was wrong. I really know. She knelt before me, hugging my legs. Caleb, is our 7-year relationship really so fragile? Have you forgotten how happy we were? Happy. I felt like I heard a joke and kicked her away. Alara, don't mention the past to me. Every time you bring it up, it makes me sick. It's you. You ruined everything between us with your own hands. Why do you have to beg me now? She fell to the floor, looking pathetic. She looked at me, eyes full of despair and fear. What will it take for you to let us go? Very simple. I pulled the agreement from under the coffee table and threw it in front of her. Sign it. She looked at the harsh terms on the agreement, her body shaking violently. No, I can't sign. Caleb, you can't do this to me. Can't. I smiled. Alara, you don't seem to understand the situation. Now, it's not a question of whether you want to sign, but that you must sign. I took out my phone and played a recording. It was my call with the dean of Archer University yesterday. Hearing me say I would bind her and Julian together in disgrace. The blood drained from Alara's face. You're shameless. She pointed at me, voice trembling. Compared to you, I have a long way to go. I turned off the recording. Sign, and I can pretend this didn't happen regarding the dean. The school notice will only process Julian. Your name won't be there. If you don't sign. I paused, leaning in her ear, whispering so only the two of us could hear. I guarantee, tomorrow the whole school and the whole internet will know how Archer University's senior Alara Vance cheated on her fiancé, aborted his child, stole company secrets, and ruined her junior's life for her own lust. Guess, at that time, will your genius boy appreciate you or hate you to the bone? Alara shook like a leaf. She looked at me with unprecedented fear. She knew I meant what I said. She lost. Completely. Trembling, she picked up the pen. Under my gaze, stroke by stroke, she signed her name. When the last stroke fell, she collapsed on the floor as if drained of all strength. I put away the agreement, not giving her another glance, and turned to leave. Caleb, she suddenly called out from behind. I stopped, not turning back. Did you ever love me? Her voice was full of humble pleading. I was silent for a moment. Then I smiled. I did, before I knew you killed my child. With that, I opened the door and walked out, locking her and our ridiculous past behind me forever. Dealing with Alara didn't lighten my heart. Instead, it felt like a piece had been hollowed out, leaving a cold draft blowing through. I didn't go home, but drove to a small memorial chapel in the suburbs. My mother often visited. She said it brought peace. I wasn't a religious man, but right now, I just wanted a quiet place to sit. The scent of beeswax candles and the hush of the sanctuary were strangely calming. I found a priest in the back garden. I made a significant donation with only one request. I wanted to light a perpetual candle and place a small memorial plaque for my unborn child. The priest, an old man with kind eyes, listened quietly. He asked no questions, just sighed and crossed himself. Son, perhaps the time wasn't right. Let go, and you will find peace. Let go? Easy to say. That was my flesh and blood, the future I had anticipated with all my heart. How could I let go? I didn't argue. I silently watched the priest write the name I had chosen on the small wooden plaque. Gabriel Sterling. I had hoped so much for him to come into this world safely. But now he was just a cold piece of wood. Watching the plaque being placed among countless other names, my eyes finally burned. Baby, I'm sorry. Daddy was useless. I couldn't protect you. I stood before the memorial for a long time, until the sun set and golden light flooded the courtyard. Leaving the chapel, my heart seemed somewhat calmer. The hate remained, but the frantic desire to destroy everything was replaced by a deeper sorrow. Back in the city, the streetlights were on. I passed my office building and stopped the car, ghost-like. Looking up at the brightly lit tower, I suddenly felt like a stranger. The place I had fought for, taken pride in, now just made me tired. My phone vibrated. A news notification. Archer University announcement. Architecture student Mr. Thorne expelled for severe academic misconduct. The news was short, the wording official. It didn't mention Alara. The dean was pragmatic. My goal was achieved. Julian was finished. But I felt no thrill of revenge. Only emptiness and irony. I turned off my phone and started the car. Just then, I saw a familiar figure walking out of the company lobby. Alara. Why was she here? Hadn't she left her job? I watched her walk to the curb and get into a black sedan. A man was in the driver's seat. It was too far to see his face, but an ominous feeling rose in my chest. Without thinking, I followed them. The black sedan wove through traffic, finally stopping at a high-end private members club. Alara and the man walked in, one after the other. I parked across the street, staring at the entrance. I knew this club. It was a gold-plated den for the city's elite, strictly members only. What was Alara doing here? And who was the man? I sat in the car, like a patient hunter. 2 hours later, the doors opened. Alara walked out. Her face was flushed, her steps unsteady, clearly tipsy. The man supporting her, I saw his face clearly this time. My blood froze. It was him. My company's VP, Richard Halloway. The man who swore to punish Julian for the sake of the company. I went to work the next day like nothing happened. Colleagues looked at me with pity. I ignored them. I hacked into the internal logs. Richard Sterling, 45, rose through the ranks. Reputation for integrity. I dug deeper. I pulled security footage from a month ago, the night of the acquisition closing. I was working late. Stella visited me with takeout. I'll wait for you, she'd said. The footage showed me leaving for a conference call. During that gap, Richard entered my office. He and Stella were alone for 10 minutes. She left with a USB drive. My backup drive. It wasn't just theft. It was a setup. I called Marcus. Investigate Richard Sterling in a company called Starlight Solutions. Starlight. Yes. I saw it in the metadata of Julian's files. Marcus called back hours later. Starlight Solutions is a shell company. Major shareholder, Sarah Vance. Who is Sarah Vance? Stella's aunt. Boom. Richard and Stella weren't just lovers. They were partners. And Richard. I dug into old yearbooks. Richard graduated from the same college as Stella's mother. I ran a background check on Stella's birth certificate. Father, unknown. but the dates aligned. Richard Sterling was Stella's biological father. He hid it to protect his career and his marriage to a wealthy socialite. Starlight Solutions was how he funneled money to his secret daughter. Julian was just a distraction, a sacrificial lamb to frame me and clear the path for Richard to oust me. In my 7-year relationship, a long con. She never loved me. She was an agent planted by her father to control the rising star of the legal department. I resigned the next day. Personal reasons, I told Richard. He feigned sympathy. Take some time, Caleb. You're a good man. His eyes gleamed with victory. I cleared my desk and left. I sold everything. House, car. Cash in hand, I hired a top-tier forensic accountant and a private investigator. I want everything on Richard Sterling. Embezzlement, bribery, the shell company. This is dangerous, the PI said. Double the fee. I replied. I moved into a cheap apartment. Stella called once, using a burner number. Heard you quit. Richard says he can get you a job as a subsidiary. We're not heartless. Her voice was condescending. By the way, Julian and I are moving to Europe. Richard pulled strings. Julian is going to study there. We're starting over. Starting over? I laughed. Have a safe flight. They were fleeing, cashing out. I waited. 1 month later, the PI delivered a hard drive. It was nuclear. Richard had embezzled millions through Starlight Solutions. Kickbacks, bid rigging, and proof of his paternity. But the cherry on top was a video from a hidden cam in Julian's apartment. Stella and Julian packing boxes. Julian, when we get to Europe, we could be free. But what about Caleb? Stella, forget him. He was just a stepping stone. A boring, useful idiot. I never loved him. I only love you. They kissed. I felt sick, but I had what I needed. They were flying out in 3 days. I booked a ticket for the same destination 1 day earlier. It was time for the finale. I sent the packages. The financial crimes to the SEC and the IRS. The corporate fraud to the Nexus board of directors. The sex tapes and paternity proof to Richard's wife. And the video of Stella mocking Julian? That was for the public. I bought a trending topic on Twitter. Hashtag NexusVP scandal, hashtag the real Stella Vance. Within hours, the internet exploded. The narrative shifted. I wasn't the pitiful ex. I was the victim of a corporate Game of Thrones. The video of Stella calling Julian a stepping stone went viral. The comments were vicious. She's a psychopath. That poor guy. Corporate espionage and paternity fraud? This is a movie. Richard's wife filed for immediate divorce and froze his joint assets. Nexus Corp announced an internal investigation and alerted the FBI. The trap was sprung. I sat in the airport terminal, cap pulled low. I saw them arrive. Richard, Stella, and Julian. They looked nervous but hopeful, oblivious to the hellfire consuming their names back home. They headed for security. Suddenly, FBI agents swarmed them. Richard Sterling, Stella Vance, Julian Rivers. You are under arrest for wire fraud, embezzlement, and corporate espionage. Richard went pale. Do you know who I am? I'm leaving the country. Not today, sir. An agent slapped cuffs on him. Your passport has been flagged. Julian looked terrified. Stella was screaming, confused. Then she saw me. I lowered my mask and waved. Caleb, she shrieked, her voice tearing through the terminal. You did this. You. Agents dragged her away. I turned and walked out into the sunlight. It was over. I went back to my crappy apartment. I felt drained. 3 days later, my phone rang. Unknown number. It was Julian. Caleb. His voice was broken. I'm out on bail. I cooperated. I saw the video. And she called me a stepping stone. She never loved me. He sobbed. I'm sorry, Caleb. I was stupid. But there's something you need to know. He paused, taking a shaky breath. Stella is pregnant. My breath hitched. What? They tested her at booking. She's a little over a month along. My mind raced. A month. I did the math. The last time it was just before she announced the first pregnancy. The doctors confirm it, Julian whispered. It's yours, Caleb. I gripped the phone until my knuckles turned white. If she was pregnant now, and the timing lined up, then what about the abortion? The first one. I stammered, my voice trembling. If she's pregnant now, the first one. The one she aborted. If the timeline is right, Julian said softly, then the first pregnancy. It couldn't have been yours. The dates don't work for 2 pregnancies that close together unless. The realization hit me like a physical blow. The abortion. Noah. That hadn't been my baby. It was yours. I hissed into the phone. The first one was yours, wasn't it? I think so. Julian wept. She had lied. She had used another man's child to trap me, then killed it when it became inconvenient. And now, she was pregnant with my actual child. I smashed my phone against the wall. I screamed until my throat bled. The child I mourned, the name I wrote on the prayer card. It wasn't mine. It was a lie, a propaganda con. And the real tragedy? I had destroyed the mother of my own flesh and blood. I disappeared into a bottle of whiskey for 3 days. I woke up in a pool of self-loathing. The irony was suffocating. I mourned a stranger's child and destroyed the mother of my own. Marcus called. Caleb, you need to come back. Stella is asking for you. Let her rot. She says if you don't come, she'll have the baby in federal prison. I flew back. I sat in the visitation room, looking at Stella through the glass. She looked haggard, wearing an orange jumpsuit. You look terrible, she said. What do you want? Save this baby. Why should I? Is it another one of Julian's? Her face crumpled. No, Caleb, please. I know what you're thinking. But the first one, I didn't lie about that. Stop lying, Stella. Julian told me the timeline. The first one was his. No, she screamed, banging on glass. They were both yours. I have proof. Proof. I laughed bitterly. Your word is worth nothing. I kept the tissue, she cried out, tears streaming down her face. From the abortion. I knew one day you might doubt me. I saved a sample for a DNA test. It's in the evidence locker. I stared at her. You? What? Check the evidence, she begged. Please, Caleb. I may be a monster, but I didn't lie about that. I killed our child, and now I'm carrying another one of ours. Please, don't let this one die too. I walked out, my head spinning. I called Marcus immediately. Check the evidence list Stella submitted. I ordered, is there a DNA test on the aborted tissue? Marcus called back an hour later. His voice was somber. Caleb, she was telling the truth. What? The lab results are here. The tissue from the abortion. It matches your DNA. 99%. I dropped the phone. She hadn't lied about the paternity. The child I mourned. Noah, he really was mine. She had killed my son, my flesh and blood, and I had spent the last week convincing myself it was a stranger's child to ease the pain. But the pain was real. The loss was real. And now, she was pregnant again, with another one of mine. The cruelty of it was suffocating. She killed one of my children to further her ambition, and now she offered the second one as a bargaining chip for mercy. Marcus spoke from a phone, lying on the seat. The judge sentenced them. Richard got life. Julian got probation. Stella got 10 years. And the baby? I whispered. She submitted a request. She wants to carry to term. She calls it atonement. Atonement. She creates a life to pay for a life she destroyed. It was twisted, but it was my child, my blood. I smoked a pack of cigarettes in an hour. Then I made a decision. I wouldn't let her play mother. I wouldn't let her use this child for sympathy. I pulled strings. I paid exorbitant fees to transfer Stella to a private, secure medical facility for the duration of the pregnancy. She thought I had forgiven her. When I visited, she was in a luxury room. Caleb, she smiled, touching her belly. Thank you. I knew you'd save him. Don't thank me. I dropped the document on her bed. Sign this. What is it? Relinquishment of parental rights. Her smile vanished. You're taking him? He will be born here. You will sign the birth certificate, and then you will go back to prison to serve your 10 years. You will never see him again. I will raise him. He will never know your name. That's cruel, she whispered, clutching the sheets. Cruel. I leaned in, my voice trembling with suppressed rage. Cruel is killing my first son, Noah. Cruel is making me mourn him twice. This is mercy. He gets a life. You get to know he's safe. She wept. She trembled. She looked at me with eyes full of regret, but she saw no yielding in mine. Finally, she picked up the pen. She signed. I watched her for months from a distance. She grew big with my son. She talked to him, sang to him, knowing every day was a countdown to their separation. It was her personal hell. Hope and despair intertwined. When the boy was born, I named him Noah, for the brother he never met. I took him home, leaving Stella screaming in the hospital room, dragged back to her cage. I had my revenge. I had my son, but as I looked into his innocent eyes, I knew the shadow of his mother would haunt us forever. Story complete.